Hello. It appears that I'm live, and you're welcome. This is actually the first installment of perhaps an ongoing thing. I've got a brand new brand, I suppose, the Inky Road. Just thought that up this morning. I just thought it'd be kind of a fun thing to call it, since we'll be dealing mostly in drawing and ink in this. And basically, it's drawing for pleasure. You can get a lot of a lot of pleasure and pass a lot of time through drawing, and to have a good time of it. Release some things that are in your imagination, or develop your imagination. It's all sort of grist to the mill in drawing, and this also in advance of some teen summer art camps, for teenagers, called Draw Your Own Stories, which is just a way to get you when you're sort of young, and develop your imagination when you're young, because it actually is better to do when you're young and still sort of unpressured, I suppose, because the pressures of life sort of get in on you, and you start having to earn a living rather than just draw for pleasure and things like that. So it's always kind of hard to deal with the trade-off between having to earn a living and using your imagination just for the heck of it, I suppose. So the first one starts on the 12th of July, which is actually next Monday, for 5 days, for bored teenagers who are at a loss for something to do during the summer holidays. Anyway, so that's it. And so, I mean, inspiration can come from anywhere, and I thought I'd look up what happened on this day in history. And one of the things that apparently happened is the Roswell incident. So for conspiracy theorists everywhere, it's one of the best ones, isn't it? Sort of UFOs and aliens coming to Earth, and it was all set during the 1940s, 1947 it was, and which actually is earlier than I thought. I thought it was in the 50s sometime. But America, for example, or the rest of the free world, was sort of in the grips of a bit of hysteria about communists, and so there was a lot of stuff going on, a lot of hidden stuff, military things going on, especially in America, and then this kind of thing happened. I'm not sure of the details, I don't believe that there are sort of aliens who came to Earth at all, but it's good for artists and people with imagination. You can sort of you can develop a lot of things from it. So I thought that that would sort of be a good one to draw on this day, the 6th of July. And let me turn myself off there a second. I can put myself. There we go. Look, there's my nice white bit of paper, and I thought I'd start out with drawing one of the aliens. I'm going to use this old pen. Not sure where it came from. Is it? Doesn't say. It's got a gold nib on it though. I picked it up somewhere, a charity shop or something. But I'm going to use it as a dip pen, because you can't. The pen's lost its lid, and I think there may have been a little reservoir in there at one point, but I can't seem to sort of get the thing to work anymore. So I'll just use this one as a dip pen and start. So this is essentially sort of doodling. So don't worry about my hand. I've got this cotton glove on because I've got an injured thumb. It's all wrapped up, and I don't want to get ink onto the dressing. So the aliens, and that's one thing that sort of made me sort of skeptical about the whole thing about these so-called aliens, is how humanoid they were. Why is it so that that the aliens would have a humanoid form, if they were to come and visit us from outer space? Give them a little mouth there like that, because they got huge heads and these great big light bulb heads. And I don't recall them having ears, so I'm going to put a little ear in here. And then like that. And slender necks. If you ever saw the film Close Encounters of the Third Kind. I think they sort of had the same kind of aliens in there, all very sort of very, very thin, almost like stick figures. And they were supposed to have had one of these aliens, one of these crafts, you know, that they did, and they did an autopsy on them, and it was filmed, and it's all very sort of, how would you say, sort of contrived, I suppose. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they did come and visit us, and we didn't have a very good time if they did. So this is my memory of what I saw, you know, over the years. This has been going on all my life, hasn't it? His chin's probably a little bit big, but you don't have to stick to what we were told at the beginning, because essentially they probably didn't exist anyway, so you can do whatever the hell you like, can't you? And over the years, you know, science fiction was a very big thing, you know, especially in the 20th century, I suppose. And so there's been a lot of artwork done of aliens, and usually sort of when the artists get going, they do a better job than coming up with a humanoid shape like this, because they never appear to have any genitals either, which is sort of a bit of a giveaway, really, isn't it? Kind of like Action Man dolls. Let's give them a ray gun, because an alien has to have a ray gun, doesn't it? With a big balloon and these kind of I don't know what, heat deflectors or whatever they are. And we'll make him a little bit sort of more determined. Let's put a finger in the trigger there. Of course, you know, they've got 5 fingers and a thumb, like we do. Yeah, like that. That ink's going to take a bit of a while to dry there. So while that's done there, this is the kind of the shape of body that they were expecting us to fall for. But a body that size couldn't hold up a head that size anyway, could it? So let's go and take one of my pens, my inking pens, and maybe I'll do a bit of a... We get a lighter one than that. Let's have a look. Ah, here it is. Here we go. Let's see how... Not very much lighter, is it? Some water's come out through it. Alright, that'll do. So if I kind of put a bit of a shadow around his eyes. There, like that. We'll have the light coming out from top left and in front, I suppose. So, there's the bone structure there. There. Under his nose. His lips. Strangely featureless faces. You often used to see aliens on things like the old, you know, the first version of Star Trek. And they had this kind of look as well. Many of them. And there was a character in Dan Dare called the Mekon. And the Mekon was another alien. He used to sit on top of this kind of like a flying disc, like a platform that he used to go around on. He was a great character. He was green. And I'm surprised that it was never sort of used in films. I used to like the Mekon. I thought he was a kind of a great character. Yeah, that'll do. Maybe I should give him some feet, shouldn't I? Put that down there. Don't need to make too much of the feet. Imagine coming out all the way from another world and just being entirely stark naked when you get here. Can't have been much fun for them. Shadow under there, under the ray gun. Maybe they got to Earth and are arrested for indecency. Give them some a shadow there that corresponds with the direction of the light. There, like that. Give them some shadow under the eyes there. One of my favourite science fiction artists, and he used to do a lot of the covers of science fiction books when I was growing up. Was a guy, I think he's still doing them, Chris Foss. He used to make everything look entirely believable. The paintings were so good on these book covers. I used to love them. And it took me a while to figure out that virtually none of the covers had anything to do with the book. Inside, the paintings were so good that the publishers just used as illustrations anyway, because they sold the books. But the very entirely believable spaceships and other worlds, beautifully painted. You should look him up. I think he's still going. He's still posting his work up on Instagram and things like that. Fair play to him. I suppose he must be in his 70s or 80s now. So there's a kind of a go-to alien life form. Why not do one of the spaceships? I suppose the flying saucers. Do it as a kind of a disc, obviously. I think the ones that they used to be shown on the so-called footage of aliens are kind of like that shape. I used to love all this stuff. And it kind of grew out of it, I suppose, after a while. But it's great for sort of for the imagination. Put shadow underneath that. There is mates in the paint in the spaceship. And it was New Mexico, wasn't it? So let's put in a kind of what my idea of New Mexico must look like, which is basically all desert and strangely sort of shaped geological formations. For all I know, it's green and lush. I don't know, but this is my sort of view. I think Roswell is in the desert, isn't it? And maybe I don't know. There. There, what else then? There's supposed to be a crashed spaceship. We can put a crashed spaceship. This is the one that he's sort of managed to escape from. There. Crashed into the desert. Bit of a smoking ruin. Puts there. Yeah, that's the smoke coming from the burning wreck. Let's put in some sort of details of that. It's a bit too dark. Okay, here I'm putting those hills very far away, but let me know. Dark then. And what we've got, the sun's coming from over here, isn't it? So let's put some shadows on the unlit side of the rock formations in the distance. Like that. When I was a kid, the BBC used to sort of, because I grew up in Britain, the BBC used to sort of come up with their own science fiction shows, and some of them were pretty good. Like there was one called UFO, and it was kind of like a crack team of UFO interceptor types. It was, I suppose, like the RAF or something, the RAF of the future, and they used to go up, and these spaceships used to come, and it was basically war, I suppose. There's some clouds up there like that. Let's put in some burning rubber smoke. Just getting lighter as it goes up out of the yeah, he's heading off to Roswell. Just mark that off there like that. That's quite a nice drawing with that pen, actually. I was just putting that little bit of off to Roswell. On holiday. A nice little Roswell picture. And that, I was just going to say, I remember that they had a nice shape, the kind of UFOs in that program, UFO. They were similarly round from the last one. My memory of them is they were kind of deeper, like that. Just to come around there like that. And they had these sort of round, I don't know what they were. Of course, it's the usual thing, isn't it? It's they put these things here and they looked as if they were functional, but you know, who knows what they were. They used to spin like mad. And the interceptors were kind of like planes. They had a strange shape. They were more like the jet planes of their day, I suppose. And there were these women pilots, and in the style of the time they had bobs. You know, they're beautiful sort of young women, and they had these bobs, and their hair was purple, because I suppose that made it sort of futuristic, didn't it? And silver clothes on, that kind of thing. But at the time it was a great program, yeah, especially for kids. I think they were the pilots of some of these interceptors as well. There you go. Look it up yourself. There you go. The Roswell incident. Taking the Inky road to Roswell. So, sketch what you can. pick whatever subject that you want to do and draw that. And I'll be back soon for another installation of the Inky Road. Alright, take care of yourselves and keep drawing. Bye bye.